want to run that for me?
Okay.
Harness Racing Museum at the Canfield Fair. In 2018, we, that's my wife Judy. I'm the nailer, and she's the curator. How's that?
Creative director.
Creative director. We'll give her another title. So in 2018, director Elwood Woman, his family was big into racing, and I don't say we were big into racing, but we always had a horse. And we said, hey, we got enough stuff, and people seem to be coming up with more and more all the time. We said, let's start a museum. So with the help of the fair board manager, Bev Fisher, we took half of the, couldn't click that. We took half of the blacksmith shop and we made it a museum. So the blacksmith shop's still there, but if you know where that's at, it's at the south end of the fairgrounds, southeast end of the fairgrounds. Yeah, the track. So, all right, that's where we're going to go with there. And when we started this, we didn't have this, but we put up a photo op for the people outside that this door doesn't close. So there's a lot of pictures taken here. One of the things at the fair, the most pictures taken, they tell us, is at the pumpkin barn. So we have this. It's, just chaos at the fair. You got the dog chasing chickens and pigs riding on the cart, and just some fun. And a lot of people do take a picture there. So this is our first year. What we had a lot of different articles about when the barn fire was, and old pictures of the old grandstand where it was. What number is that, Judy? You know?
It doesn't tell you.
Okay.
Oh, 5.
So then, go ahead and click that. We get more and more every year. And we have some close-ups here coming up. But here, like the Vindicator, the brown section, the
Great year.
yes. 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 You'll see that there was in 1932 is one of these. There's a solar eclipse on August 31st, 1932. And I hope, everybody looks at it and then they say, boy, I sure hope they were told not to look at it, to burn your eyes. But we had a lot of fun with that. And you'll see there's a reading board here. We go back even to 1880, 1892. Program from the fair. But every year we do collect more and more things. Not all things are shown every year. Some things are re-shown in a different position or place. So go ahead. One of the things we have over the years is games. And instead of having car races, there's horse races. Like a slot car race would be. Electric, instead of being electric football, was horses going around the track. Some of these games were actually, you can see it says they were bought at Woolworth and Woolco. I did not have any of these games, but they were out there. So, kind of unique.
Canners?
What's that?
Canners?
Oh, yeah, a little whiskey. They weren't mine either. Here we have the saddle pads. The saddle pads, this has just changed within the last 10 years for the horses. If you were in race 1, everybody had a brown saddle pad. So it was a brown 1, a brown 2. Can you guys hear me okay? That goes back at me. So when you had that for a race, everybody in the race had the same color saddle pad, but obviously a different number. And in return, they've gone so they could announce it better or see it better. When they race now, number 1 is always red, number 2 is always blue. And to know what race you are, there's a little small number, like you'll be race 4, so you'll see a little small number on it. But that was the field of, say, 9 horses. Everybody had a different color on their horse. Just showing some of the silk jackets there. More pictures here from the brown section, what I always called it. There's even a picture of Bud Caldwell in New Springfield walking his steer. It shows it, which I understood why it was later, because if you took the picture today, well, then you had to wait a whole week if that paper was coming out the following week. That's why, like the solar eclipse on the other side there said it was August 31st, but it wasn't put in the paper until the following week. Because I believe, what I remember, the brown section was always the Sunday or the Saturday? Sunday? Okay.
Rotogravure, they call it.
What's that?
Rotogravure, they call it.
Yes, and we have 2 of them, and the one doesn't say the roto, it just says the gravure.
Yeah.
It doesn't say the roto gravure there, but sure. This fella here, he raced or trained Evan Evans at Canfield. He's from Hubbard, and he lost his life, him and his wife, in the tornado of 1985 up there in Hubbard. He trained for, you guys would probably know this, at 46 and 80, there was a meat packing place called Lloyd's Packing. Now it's the big interchange, and there's a McDonald's there, and I think there's Cerny Motors is down in there. That was all a big horse farm, and that's where he got started. But then he did train at Canfield. Evan Evans. Just things of the like here, you know, just neat things. Here, the silk colors, and I don't know if, I was asking the wife, if at 1900, if they had the colors like they do today. I don't believe they did, but I was just going to pass this jacket around. They call them silks or the colors, and in return, I believe now they're just nylon, just easy to clean up. If you want to see that, they do feel silky. But a short sleeve jacket would be for summertime racing. A long sleeve would be wintertime, you know, and be more thermal. That one there is Bob Corey from Corey Oil down there in Columbiana. But yeah, they call them the colors of the silks. The older they are, the pockets they had on them.
They were longer.
Yeah, they were longer sleeve or longer tails on them.
What about that race?
The single shaft race bike, that was from like 1969 to 1973. And they felt that it got too dangerous because what the horse could do is actually there was a pivot point, like a 3-point hitch, right in the center of the harness. And the horse could actually turn around 180 degrees and look at you without 2 shafts. And they were faster. Those bikes were faster, the racing bike.
It's real light.
It is real light. And the other thing that would happen if you're sitting like along the rail and there's a horse in front of you and you come out to the 2 position, the horse could come out and the bike is still sitting on an offset. So they got rid of that like in 1973. They don't allow that anymore. There's also, we've got some pictures close up coming up. Here's they call it, I wish I had a pointer, but I don't, the big fair. That's the old grandstand at Canfield, which, I'll give you an idea, if any of you know where that's located, or where it was. If you're at the Greenford Route 10 chicken stand, and you're looking south, the hillside, we always called it when I was a kid, that was the sideshows were on that street. If you're looking south, there's a bank, and that bank is the front of the grandstand, the wall, is where the old one was. So.
But that's something burnt down.
No. Go ahead. Another shot of the museum.
This is an older one.
well, this is newer. This is newer. We put in a reading board for people. And something that happened last year on a book, it's a national published book, it's called Hoof Beats for Horsemen. And they took this picture back in like 1993, 91, 92, 93, we're not real sure. And geez, oh man, here I am along the fence. I made the cut. We blew it up here. And my brother Gary, he's standing here in the middle, and Ricky, he's driving right there. I think I got third on that one, Ronnie. You guys want to see that? But that picture was taken in, like I say, 91, 92, 93, and last year was published in June. So.
You had to blow it up, put it up.
Yeah, we had to blow it up. The curator said, we got to blow that up. Go ahead. More of the coats that you get over time.
There's a long suit on there.
Yeah, and the modern stuff, they're going to like a jumpsuit. Here back in I think this is 1944, the war had not ended, and they were raising for almost $40,000 back then. Wow. So, in proportion to today, it's
a lot.
A lot.
Wow.
Now here's the, Dave, what is it?
Rotogravure section.
You got it. Now, this one just says it's the gravure section. It doesn't say the roto. The other one, this is 1932. Here's the solar eclipse. And the racing, this is, that might be the first year of the new grandstand. I think that's when the new grandstand, which is still standing today. Games people play then and now. 6 boys play tug of war with a tractor right here. I know it might be a little hard to see. Yeah, just set it down. Just set it down. Go ahead, you. Here's Bud Caldwell walking his steer. It's just that I had that paper, but it really is nothing about racing. But I thought, there's always a local connection. Now here, this is in 1945, and I do remember my mom saying that when she'd take tickets out at the fair, it was by the car. I don't ever remember her saying that they still charge how many people was in the car. Does anybody know? But look at all the cars just parked around. I mean, them were all cars, and the people. So they did charge by the car, not by the person. So they
drove in the gate.
But did they charge the people? How many people was in the car, or strictly by the car?
I don't know how they charged, but the charge that came in the gate until traffic backed up too much, and that's when they put the
if you were frugal, I guess you would try to jam in the car. Because I do remember my mom saying, when she was a young girl, she said that we used to charge by the car, and there's a picture of it. So just thousands of cars. There's the old grandstand, the big fair in Canfield. Like I say, this here wall should be facing south, from what I can gather. If you were at the fountain at the fair, it would be over in here. Mr. Felder, does that sound right?
Yeah.
But the people and there's the new grandstand, 1935. So the grandstand, I believe, was built in 1932.
By the WPA.
WPA 36.
It was built by the WPA.
36 or 32?
On 36 is on the edge of the building,
Huh.
the back of the building.
Yeah, is it 36?
I think it is.
Because this year says 1935, so that's why I thought it was 1932.
Maybe it's not finished.
One of the WPA projects.
Yeah, WPA.
They expanded it since then.
But look at the, like anything, the people, it's,
All dressed up too.
Dressed up, that's what I just said,
Yeah.
John.
the people. Okay. Just another shot of the racing, which you can tell when it's color, you get a little more modern.
What are those things on their noses?
Oh, on horses, those are shadow rolls. Sometimes the horse will jump over its shadow or different things that shine on the track, so you want that horse to look out
Easily distracted, are they?
sometimes. There's a newer one. Most tracks have gotten away from hub rails and stuff. They race without a hub rail.
What's a hub
The other
You
thing
know what
is,
that is.
you know what's funny about it? All the tracks, nobody knows for sure, but they're talking about 70 to 80 farm tracks, and I got a few shots of some old ones coming up. Like East Palestine, if you went around the park down there, that was a racetrack. And we know out here, like you guys have the picture out there at Withers's, or what's that?
Like the road.
I know Grandpa always had a track out there. Just out around the Boyd area, there was 7, 8, or 9, but it was with every farm. You know, you always had a little track. Popularity of harness racing did go down just after the automobile, but then it came back. Just,
It's 20.
pardon?
That's 20.
Just another shot of the guys, all the people. But in today's world, I mean, you can bet on so much. I mean, you can bet on if a guy's going to catch a 10-yard pass or 20-yard pass, and the money. Now that shot there, that's out here at Withers's, and talking to Gordy before. Does anybody remember what it was called before? I remember as a kid going out there to Withers's to a picnic or at the pavilion. Gordy called it Mapleville Park.
Mapleville, Mapleville. And that's where my uncle was killed by lightning.
Okay.
They were having a company picnic, but yeah.
And I didn't know it, but Gordy had told me before that two sisters, Wilda Ward and Gladys Smith, these two sisters, Wilda was married to Ray, and
No,
no,
she was married to Wayne. That's my mother.
which one?
Wilda.
Wilda,
And
and
Gladys was,
they were sisters, right?
right.
Did they live out there at the
At one point, yes, they did. Actually, I think they're,
at the house right out there?
yeah.
And I knew I could get some good information. That's good, right? But after that, then Withers bought it.
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure of that the whole timeline, because that was, they'd have been young. I don't know.
Yeah. And Gladys then lived right here, going down the hill, right? Right there on the right by
First house
Schiller's.
right behind Schiller's, yes.
Right back there behind Schiller's, yep. Another shot of the old racetrack. Here's a farm that out there at Canfield, like I was saying, there was a track. You can just see the bank there a little bit. And some farm tracks weren't really a half mile. Maybe they were a little short, so you didn't end where you started, or you ended at a different spot to get a full half mile in. Is that the last one?
Yeah.
Just some racing. You guys, and I got something else here then too, but any other questions you'd like to know about racing or?
How many years did your dad race?
20. 20, yeah.
Do you race now, or?
I do not. My brother does, and my older brother trains for him. They have some.
How fast do they go?
Well, in the old days, they'd go in 217. Now they go in 153, 155. So you're traveling over 30 miles an hour. There are no springs or anything like that, so it kind of shakes your guts, if it's not smooth. But yeah, what they go today and what they went yesterday
Are they a lot safer now than they were back in?
No, I don't, the guys do wear, protective vests and stuff like that, the helmets are better, but the speed has increased so much that when there's an accident, usually it's,
Well, there's not
Tumble.
much protection there.
no, it's just you and the ground.
Yeah, I remember one time when I was working at Hurricane French right down at Elizabeth Fair back in, this was in the late '70s. There was a harness race going on, and right up from our stand, two of the racers collided, and one guy fell off, hit the track hard. Now it's after the squad then, so I ran out to check him out. And he was complaining his back hurt, and I wouldn't let him up. He wanted to get up, and I said, no, you're not getting up, your back's hurting, or waiting for an ambulance. You had to wait for an ambulance to come all the way down from Salem. If you didn't have one on the grass, then, but this guy wanted to get up. And I said, no, you're complaining your back's hurting, I'm not gonna let you up. But he could have, become
Yeah.
paraplegic,
Yep.
And I noticed when they ride with their legs high, and they keep them from falling backward, hold on to the reins.
Yeah, when you drive a horse, the horse does, you know if it's, we call it, if it's on the bit, I mean, it pulls you, you can feel it that it's tugging. If it spits the bit, there's nothing there, I mean,
Yeah.
the horse is done.
Yeah. What breed of horses do they use in the harness racing?
We always call them just standard bred,
No,
As opposed to a thoroughbred.
opposed to a thoroughbred like the Kentucky Derby.
no,
Um,
I figured.
They, well, the blood, through breeding, they've gotten faster and better. What else I want to say about them? What's that?
You want to breed the one that is fast.
Well, you look at the bloodline, the sire and the dam. I'm trying to think if there was something else I want to tell everybody about the racing. What's that?
Saturdays and Mondays.
Oh, yeah. The betting, even at the Canfield Fair this year, on Monday's race card, they bet over $12,000. So people still bet. And if, like my mom said, she said, listen, she said, if you want to know who's going to win the race, talk to the horse. When it tells you, then go bet. Other than that, we keep our money. We keep our money. What else with the
Hey,
racing?
Ron,
Yeah.
Do they hold any other races, other than at the fair?
Yes.
Throughout the year?
In the country, that was one thing. In the United States of America, Ohio, out of the 88 counties, I believe we race in 66 counties. It's the best racing in the state of Ohio, in the United States. Like Pennsylvania might race 13 counties, and some of the money it comes from 4 places. The guys ante up. You pay a fee for 2 and 3 year olds in February, and really, in horses, only about 30% make it to the raceway, and after that, you even have breakdown and stuff like that. So, out of 100 horses, that if you think you got a good enough one, you ante up, you can only get 30 of them about that make it. That is what helped start these smaller county fairs, why they would have meetings and gatherings, because the Department of Agriculture sends money to the fairs. Now, there is a cost, and it doesn't cover it all, but the casino money is run through the Department of Agriculture. So in the state of Ohio, when they set it up, at least the horsemen, there's money sent back to the fairs or to the races to be had, that you have money coming from the Department of Agriculture. You have the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association, which is the betting. The betting, there's a percent that comes back. And then there's paid in, which is the majority of it from the horsemen. And then the county fair does put up, each county fair puts up $500, but if they get back,
Except for purse.
that's, the $500 is for each division. What I mean is 2-year-old colt trot, 2-year-old colt pace, then 3-year-old colt trot, 3-year-old colt pace. Then you have the same thing with the fillies. And that's how they get some of their money back. but it's just a percent that the money is coming back. But Ohio, I mean, I'm pretty sure Pennsylvania, all the counties in Pennsylvania, there's only 13 that race in the state of Pennsylvania. But whether that money, is strictly for casino, the Ohio did do a little bit better job of setting it up. What else, guys? That I want to, yeah?
Okay, what can you tell us about what's being built on South Range Road?
Click that next picture there. Yeah, that is a training facility. I just took it from the outside. That man is, I'll find it here. His name is David Kapp, K-A-P-P. And David has, I'll just spell it, T-R-A-V-C-O, Behavioral Health, Travco. I know you've probably seen it advertised sometimes in these flyers that you get in the paper, but it's called Travco Behavioral Health and Parkman Recovery. And with that, he put in a half-mile track. The barns there will hold 60 to 70 horses, and what they're building now, if you went by, they're building an indoor arena, because his wife likes to drive or ride these horses. Corey DeAmon is his trainer. He's, I guess he's around 40 years old. But there's no home going there or anything like that, but that's the facility they have. And not just at the fairs, I mean, they race at Northfield, you race in Columbus at Scioto, there's a place in Cincinnati for harness racing, the Meadows, and then New York, the Poconos. I mean, there are quite a few tracks around. Yeah, Darla.
Where is this?
It's just between Brungard Road and
Across from Sugar's.
yes, crossing well, I was going to say Columbiana Newcastle Road or Locust, between Brungard and Locust is where that lays. That's on the north side.
That's South Rainford on the other side?
Yes.
No, that is South Range Road. This is South Range Road. Death Valley is to the west.
So this is strictly a training facility?
Yeah, that's strictly a training facility. Because you can race, unlike thoroughbreds, standardbreds, you race, I mean, it's okay, you can race unless they break down or something happens once a week, once every 10 days. You follow it.
What does a thoroughbred do?
They usually, yeah.
What's the difference between a trotter and a pacer?
A pacer, the right front and the back front go together. A trotter, then, it's the right front, left rear. That's the difference in the gait. That's the two gaits. Amish, they love a big trotter. And when they would like an Amish, they have come down in price, but a good Amish horse now, $8,000. I mean, they're not exempt from, it was up to $12,000. When I say they want a good one, they want one that mom can drive with the kids, that is friendly and I'm going to say roadworthy, that's safe. They feel safe. They like them. They like a larger one. They like trotters if they can, and they like what we call a little chrome. They like a little chrome. And what that is, they either want a white spot or the back legs to be a little white. So they say they want a black horse with a little chrome. That's what they like. And you go up around Middlefield in northern Trumbull County. There's a farm up there that they run just about 100 horses, and they do race. The Amish do race. You'll see names like Millers, Yoders,
Byler.
Byler. What else there? Where's my folder? I was gonna just pop one up there. I don't know what I did, Judy. Let me think. Boy, I think the names sometimes. Hirschbergers. these are actually Amish that are driving, and you have to have a license to drive at the raceway. Is different than driving at the fair. You get a sponsor if you're going to become a driver to drive, say, at a matinee. It's not just for fun or training. I mean, it's the real deal. But there are a lot of Amish that race, and that farm up there, when I go up there, it's like, wow, it's really something to all them racehorses out in the pasture. I mean, it's bigger than anything they ever show at the Kentucky Derby out there running in Kentucky. I mean, when you got like 80, 90 horses running in the pasture, whoo, that's a big farm. Yeah, the thing about the horse, there's work on the front end and there's work on the back end. So, but what else? Anything else you guys like to know?
How dangerous is
Pretty dangerous. There's wrecks.
that? Has anything else?
Sometimes, my dad always said, Ronnie, there's no foot
Oh my God.
feed and there's no steering wheel, and sometimes they're so hot that you can't. You get trapped in at the rail, and that's why they did away with the rail. At least you could dart off course, or you can't. If you break gate, they can run in each other, or a misstep and a break. Pacers, when they break, it's a little bit tougher than a trotter because sometimes they call them a standstill break. When they go out of gate, the horse jumps and leaps, and the other ones are coming, and there's a pile up.
Now, when it's buggy you're riding it flips, does the horse stop or he just keeps on going?
It's not good. No, the sulky could be just dragging behind, flipping like a feather, and
Now, you're not strapped on or anything,
oh no,
so that throws you off.
yeah, you catapult out. Over the years they've even changed. Like now you put your heels in the stirrups, so when you do go out, you're not caught. Or if you have your toes in it, it catches you.
What do you do with a horse that?
Well, they have a program for the old horses because you only can race. You can't race before they're 2, and you can't race until they're after 13. So if the Amish don't want it, or if it's just old and tired, they have like adopt a horse program or riding programs. Some of the horses are even. We had one that we sold to a Civil War reenactment. It was a gray horse. Walt Disney made a movie called The Tattooed Police Horse. If you look that up, I think it's like 1964, The Tattooed Police Horse, and it became a horse that they rode in New York City. Because all horses before, I'm going to say, since the turn of the century, they got a tattoo in their upper lip. So when you go to race, it's all registered. They roll that lip up and they look at that number, and it's got to equal who you say you got in the horse. But now they got a chip in them. So that's how Walt Disney called it the tattooed police horse.
How about the guy that has to tattoo that?
Well, sometimes you have to get a good vet, and you have to calm them down a little bit. There's the main jugglers right here in the neck. But yeah, it's now with the computer and stuff. I mean, every race was always recorded. They call it the siren dams. But every race that was ever raced, I mean, there's just books and books and books, and they're thick. What else was there? Anything else you guys like to know about harness racing? Sometimes the thing is about racing, it's everybody, you want to know how it's going to finish, but really it's how the race unfolds will tell you a lot how it's going to finish, whether you leave out of there too fast or you're hung to the outside, because on a half-mile track, if you're out in the second hole and you're parked outside and you can't clear to get to the top, you got to go 40 feet farther. So if you got 2 people that can run the same speed, you got to the parachute's going to come out on you, or something bad's going to happen that you just can't go that kind of speed.
How far is the race?
Usually all races are a mile in harness racing. 1/5 of a second is the length of a horse. they have gone, I see like in thoroughbreds, they'll give it to you in tenths and stuff, but you'll see they'll go down to the quarter and 29 2, that's 2/5, and you know, the next quarter will go in 30, so it makes it a 59 2 down to the half. But if you see when you read the lines, if that horse is even 1/5 of a second behind, it's a length behind. So a length of a horse is 1/5 of a second. So, you know, one second, you know, don't seem like much, but man, we got our butt kicked. Yeah.
How do you determine which horse gets the outside leg and which one gets the inside?
Well, what the state does is, like, they call it the draw, and at Canfield, it's a 3-day draw or 3-day box. So when the race is going to be raced on Saturday, on Wednesday, your horses are entered to the racing secretary. Then it's divided up because you got all these horses coming. You can have 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, older horses, or for just say the Canfield Pacing Derby. When that takes place, it's all separated, and say there's I'll give you a number. Say there's 9 horses that qualify for the 2-year-old filly pace. They're all girls. They're all 2-year-olds. And the most you're going to race at Canfield is 8 horses. You score 6 across, and then you have 2 trailers. At the raceway, you score 9 across, and you can have as many as 3 trailers. But usually it's 8 across at the raceway at Northfield, say, and you have 1 trailer. So those horses are all put in with a just say they're nominated. They're in this race because it had a split. There was 9 horses. You can't race 9 at Canfield, so it would go 4 horses and 5 horses. Pills are put into a bottle, 1 through 5. Shake up. They dump out a pill, and that number. Papers are upside down, and somebody just pulls from that paper, and they say, this gets the 1 hole, this gets the 2, 3, 4, 5. That's even today. That's how it's drawn.
Do they start straight across, or do they?
No, they're straight.
Oh,
They're straight. There's not a stagger
so
start.
the person on the inside has the advantage.
He does, but maybe that horse isn't able to leave as fast, or you know. So
You got the slowest horse you want.
but you don't have that choice. It's determined
By the draw.
by the draw, strictly by the draw.
Boys and girls don't race each other.
Not usually. Not in 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds. I mean, usually the boys are a little bit faster, but even though they're colt races, they already could be a gelding. You know, most of the time.
You try to get people that are real lightweight.
Well, they used to say that didn't matter, but yet, because of how the sulky, say different than the jog bite, there's actually, you tuck up in there. If the horse has a loose bow, it's not a good thing. That's why you see that's why you see a towel on the tail. A towel on the tail. That's what you got to watch for. But yet, a lot of these, they said it never made a difference because unlike a thoroughbred where the heavier weight, there's a lift on the horse. The shafts are trying to fly off. There's safeties on there so it doesn't pick up. But yeah.
They don't counterweight them, right?
Oh no, you can have a big horse and a little horse. We got one that's, we call it. It's really we call it like just a small little tiny horse, but his feet. He's got a good heart, so he finished 3rd. But some of them horses, you know, about 1.5 steps difference.
Now the sulky, does it? Can you do anything you want to that?
No, those are all, they have to be licensed and sanctioned too. I mean, like I said, like that one there I had, the single shaft, you know, that's outlawed, or if the stirrups aren't the same anymore, there's not really much you can do. It's
You can't lighten them up.
no, well, over the years, I mean, they used to be wood, then the fiberglass. Now they're actually like that cart there,
I can lift that.
I bet you that cart doesn't weigh 12 pounds. The wheels are heavier than that's all aluminum on that single shaft cart, but No, they've developed them almost, what it reminds me of is a graphite, like a pole vaulter's pole. When Darla and I was in school, if you pole vaulted, I mean, that pole was heavy. It seemed always heavy to me. But now it's really a lightweight, almost like a graphite. It's not even fiberglass, it's like a graphite. But with plastics, you know, they're developing today, I'm sure that'll get changed.
Do they only run on dirt, or do they run on blacktop?
Well, they have what they call an all-weather track too, but mainly it's a slag or just a stone.
But small.
Wintertime, you know, you just like the old days with the horses, you put a little touch of borium on the shoe. Amish, if they run up and down the road because the steel slips, or they use aluminum shoe, but aluminum shoe does grab. It's lightweight, but aluminum, steel slides, aluminum grabs. You know, the foot changes the gait, short the pace, long the trot. A longer foot makes the horse trot, where he'll pace or swing. You know how you put a shoe on. The foot, if you keep it level, or if you angle it to the outside or angle it to the inside, and how the paddle goes of the foot. It's its own science. Yeah, I mean they've developed it.
Is it the same sulky for trotters and pacers?
It is. Sometimes though, what the sulkies are larger because of a big trotter. Just like if you had an Amish buggy, some Amish buggies are smaller. A large trotter can, well, I'm gonna go a pacer. These here are pacers. See this foot's back, this foot's back, so that's a pacer. There's a hobble on there to help, but you can be free-legged. But if they swing, this back foot swings, if this ain't wide enough, they'll smack the side of the wheel.
What about that?
Those are pacers too. See, right front, back, left, right front, back, right rear is back. It's all the same. But I want to tell you something about the gait. Oh, what makes a horse break? Usually what makes a horse break is either pain or it crossfires. The right rear will come up and hit the left front, or vice versa. If a horse will not go on if it has pain, like you have a sore foot and you hobble along, you can't run. And that's what happens sometimes, or they'll drive it right off its feet. It's going too fast for what the horse can go. It'd be like a person running real hard and then stumbling and falling, is what happens to a horse.
Are those trotters?
Yeah, there's a trotter. My mom, she told a story one time. She could ride on the back of a horse like she was in the circus. You know, stand on its back and stand up when she was a little girl. And yeah, and what she said was, now I think she was around in the early 40s, maybe 10, 11, 12. She said she brought the team up right here. She said the gas pumps were here, and they had a airline that would ding the bell like they used to when the old gas station you pull up. And she said that team caught that air hose and broke it, and then it was flying around like a big old snake. She said she lost the team, it broke away, but the tree stayed together. But she didn't have them anymore. You know, she's sitting there, and there goes the horse. She said at that time, Bill Ritchie jumped on the team of horses. He was somewhere here, and the turnpike wasn't here yet. He said Bill Ritchie jumped on the team, and those horses headed for home, full blast. She said they got around the bend where the turnpike is, and she said, you know, there's a tree, and they split the tree. She said they split the tree, and was holding the horses together on a team. She said when they all got there, she said Bill Ritchie was standing there holding the one at the tree, and the other one went home already. So some goofy stories, but she said she always teased Dad. She said, I knew more about horses than you ever knew. Yeah, but that's, they live down here just on the other side of the creamery.
See how he's saying that?
Yeah, that's a newer picture, but at one time, the driver he'd come up underneath the tail would be in his face. This is just some they put out, but it is hard to see sometimes when people cross in front of you because you got to look way out. But see, these guys, it'd be hard to see. It is hard to see if you got a lot of people going. You know, you're looking like this because you can't see over his head, so you got to look to the side.
It's
But-
crowded.
Huh?
It's crowded.
It does get crowded, and people don't realize it though. You know, if they cross in front of you and they're maybe 100 yards down from the track from you, it's like, you guys, if you hesitate and go like this, you got to do something with your horse. Like, come on, people. So, but yeah, other than this training facility over here, it's just a little private. I shouldn't say little; it's kind of big. But that building they're putting up is an indoor riding facility. But his name's David Kapp, K-A-P-P.
Are they just gonna be training this style of horse, or are they
Yeah.
gonna do like dressage, or?
No, it'll be just the standard bred, the harness horse.
Well, they could have the other kind inside, couldn't
Well, but usually you don't train it. You gotta. Right now, there's no thoroughbreds there. I mean, they're talking about quarter horses and stuff because she likes to ride. So.
Whose
Anything else?
horses are they training? Their own, or are they opening that up to?
Well, they have some of their own, and they can you know, different people have horses. They will train for them.
60?
Yeah, that barn there holds roughly around 32 or 35 horses. So if you fill it up, I mean, wow, that's a lot of hay. They in our Ohio Farmers book, they say that I don't know how, I don't just want to say a number, but it's millions of dollars a year for hay and the grain from the Ohio farmer that they support, you know, the standard bred industry. They race, I know up there at Hollywood, I think it's Hollywood, ain't it? Right there at Austintown? You know, they race here, they'll start here late fall and race till about April before the Kentucky Derby. But Northfield, they race year round, sometimes 5 days a week, sometimes 4, you know, but it's hard to believe. $1 million a night is built in, or bet in Cleveland, Ohio. $1 million. Like I say, in Canfield, just on 12 races, you know, that's over $1,000 a race. The other thing is, when you bet, it used to be the state law that they had to pay you 10% on the dollar. So if you got a favorite and you think it can win, and you say, okay, I'll bet it to show because you play win, play, show, then if for every dollar bet you were going to make 10%. Well, a few years back they changed that to 5%. So if you have a negative pool, the most you're going to get is $2.10 because they're paying a nickel on a dollar, so they're paying 5%. But when you see all them odds, usually that's just the win odds. It's not place and show. I mean, at the fairs, at the raceway, it's different. But like I said, if you want to know who's going to win, talk to the horse. Other than that, keep your money. Other than that, anything else? Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.